But for me, is what's important for me to really center myself and connect to myself is definitely meditating every single day and praying every single day and also doing affirmations. So just depending on what that day is looking like, I'll make sure to make room or space for that in my life. And so like I said, I follow the moon cycles. You can also just download an app. I forgot what it's called, but I'll probably put a picture up or something of the app, and it tells you what the moon cycle is in. So it'll tell you if the moon is in Taurus or if the moon is in like Leo or something like that, and you can use that to your benefit by showing up in those signs in their so-called, high vibrational energy. So for example, if the moon is in Leo, that is the time that you want to put yourself out there and show your full, authentic self. And if you do whatever you do, you want to make sure that you are showing up with confidence in that. So you'll do a meditation surrounding your confidence. So you'll do a meditation surrounding this butterfly is so beautiful. Oh my goodness. Okay. I wanted it to land on me. So you'll do a meditation surrounding that energy of confidence, or say it's the moon is in Taurus, and that's about, to me, when it comes to Taurus, I'm a Taurus. When it comes to a Taurus, they're sensual. It's about the senses. It's about the five senses plus the sixth sense of intuition and feeling. So I feel like when it comes to the moon being in Taurus, that's when you will, you know, love yourself a little extra, love people a little extra, that they feel into everything that you do when you're brushing your teeth. You really should do that every single day. But what I'm saying is using the moon cycle, whatever the moon is in that day, and feeling into whatever that is a little extra that day. But I think it's important to understand, even if you don't do or you don't call it spiritual practices, to make sure that you are connecting to yourself and to make sure that you are connecting to source or whatever you believe in order to make sure that you are cleansed and protected throughout the day, energetically and physically. So no matter what comes up in your life in that day, no matter what chaos tries to attach itself to you, no matter what egos try to attach itself to you or whatever the case may be, it can't, because you already have done the cleansing work in order to release it easily if it does come up, if that makes sense. And also I think it's important to understand, because for me, for example, I take showers at night. So when I'm taking a shower, I make sure to pray over that water before I continue to cleanse my energy with the water, or before I continue to cleanse my body with the water. So I make sure to pray and make sure to ask for that, the water to be able to heal my energy in my body and whatever I'm storing within my energetic field or within my body that no longer serves my highest good. And I think it's important to make sure to be intentional with whatever you do in order to cleanse, or whatever you do in order to release and forgive, or whatever you need to do in order to bring your power and call your power back in. And I also think it's important to say those words as well. I call my power back in from any person, place, or thing or situation, and intentionally feel that energy drawing itself back to you, and intentionally feel when you say, I release and let go of any energy that is not mine, that is not of love, that is not of light. Intentionally understand and feel that energy releasing from your body. So if you're in the shower, making sure as that water hits you and it rolls down, to make sure that you release whatever is not for you, and visualize that energy releasing and turning into light. and turning into clear light and turning into whatever you visualize it to be. Also, you know, also you can imagine it being black smoke on you and the water purifying that smoke and turning it into white smoke, or turning it, or just clearing it from your body completely, I think it's important to learn different techniques and different things to cleanse and release, especially if you have been through a lot in life, especially if you have had to cut a lot of people off, or especially if you had a lot of sadness or anxiety or depression or whatever the case may be. Okay, getting close to hell. Um, insects out here just want to be close to me today, but I think it's important to just understand what you need and making sure to do that every single day, because when it comes to anxiety or depression, you have to choose intentionally to bring yourself out of that. You have to make the decision every single day to protect your energy, to protect your space. And I've also talked about this in my last podcast, where I talk about how to energetically set boundaries with other people, and how to energetically set boundaries with other people and using framework to do that. And I explained it in my last video what framework, but I'll go over it a little bit right now as well. Basically, you want to make sure that you're breathing in to your energy, and as you release, leaving that release space open for whatever is outside of you that you are paying attention to, whether that be people, um situations, or the space that you are in, to be in the present moment, the here and now. I think it's important to understand that being in the present moment, being in the here and now, is what is also going to protect you and protect your space and allow you to be. Because when you're in the here and now, when you're in the space of being in the present moment, depression cannot thrive in the present moment. Anxiety cannot thrive in the present moment, because you are breathing in and out, and it's putting you in a space of not being able to, it's putting you in a space of not dwelling in the past, or putting you in a space of not dwelling in what is to come or what's going to come in the future. And so breath work, really focusing on breath work and being in the present moment of the now space, puts you in a space of having to deal with what's in front of you at the time. And it puts you in a space of putting one foot in front of the other, instead of focusing on 10 steps in front of you, or focusing on the past 10 steps that you had to take in order to get to this space right now. And I think it's important to understand, when it comes to the present and the past, for me personally, I think that the only time that you should be focusing on the past is when you're healing, is when you're trying to breathe through that trauma, and feel through intentionally whatever comes up from your past that may be triggering you, or whatever the case may be. And I think it's important to understand, when it comes to focusing on the future, I think the only time that you should be focusing on the future is when you're trying to intentionally manifest, or visualize, or intentionally script or write down your goals and your dreams, in order to understand what you need to do in the present moment in order to make that happen. And I think that's important to understand. When it comes to the past and the future, the only time you should be focusing on the past is when you're intentionally healing it. The only time that you should be focusing on the future is when you're intentionally manifesting it. And I think that's important to understand. but the present moment should be the space that you dwell in the most. And not to say that there won't be moments where you become triggered, or there won't be moments to where the past will creep up and pop into your life, and you'll think about the past. But in that moment you should be breathing into that space in order to bring yourself back to the present moment, or you should be breathing in that space in order to feel what you need to feel, in order to transmute whatever baggage or hurt or pain you are holding on to from that past, from those past moments. And the only time that you should be thinking about the future is when you're intentionally sitting down and writing down your dreams and your goals in order to understand what you want to accomplish in the future. But after that point, you should be making sure that you are in the present moment in order to make that situation, in order to bring that manifestation to life right now. Because I also made a video talking about how the little things make the big thing. Basically saying how when I was younger, I got a tattoo. I got a tattoo and it's on my wrist. It's this airplane, and the tattoo artist that did it, he was looking at the line work and he was like, I did a good job. You see that line work? And I didn't understand necessarily what he meant because I was just looking at the whole picture of the airplane. I was just like, it looks good. But I didn't understand until I started studying and wanting to become a tattoo artist, which is also something that I learned that I didn't actually want to do. But I didn't start to understand what he really meant with the little details oh, until I started to understand and learn how hard it is to stay in a line when you are doing a tattoo. And so sometimes you have to zoom in order to make the bigger picture happen. Sometimes you have to zoom in order to stay in the present moments of the little things in order to then be able to reach that bigger goal. And I think that's important to understand when it comes to the present moment and spiritual practices in order to get you to the present moment, because I think in life everybody is trying to get to the present moment anyways by doing whatever they are trying to do to escape, because I think that's what escaping is, like smoking weed or drinking alcohol or working out a lot, doing or trying to eat and using eating as a form of addiction, or whatever people do, or are using sex or whatever the case may be. I think that everyone is just trying to get to the present moment. And I'm reading the book The Power Now, and I really suggest everybody that is watching this video or listening to this podcast pick up the book The Power Now. I finished it and I'm reading it again because I think that it is the most important thing that we can learn, understanding how to be in the present moment, understanding how to release our past and hurts and pains in a healthy way, and understanding how to go towards the future in a space of the present moment in order to really appreciate and be thankful for the moments that we are in right now. And so I think it's important to understand, like I said, I think everyone is trying to get to the present moment in some form or way, because when you drink alcohol it makes you feel like you don't have a care in the world. And I think that is what the present moment brings you. You don't have to drink alcohol to get to that space. You just have to feel through whatever you've been through in order to really transmute that energy. And yes, it's painful, but I think it's more painful to continue to drink and allow that to take a toll on your body when in reality you just want to live and be at peace, and you just want to have fun have fun with life. And I think it's important to understand, to do that in a natural way. You have to understand how to be in the present moment, even when it comes to weed. um I think that brings you in a space of being in the present moment where you're focusing on your breathing, you're focusing on how good the food. That's why the food tastes that good when you smoke or whatever the case may be, or why conversations are so good because you're in the present moment. And so I think it's important to learn how to do that. That is a big ass ant. I think it's important to learn how to do that naturally. And so for me, that's why I take my spiritual practices so seriously, because it brings me in the present moment and it allows me to feel what I need to feel in order to truly transmute it, in order to truly be at peace and in the present moment, and bring true grateful or gratitude energy into my space, no matter what I'm going through or no matter what life is looking like on the outside. I'm able to be stable emotionally, mentally, physically, internally. I'm able to bring myself into a space of being my own home. And I think it's important to how to learn what works for you in order to bring yourself back to your temple, back to your home, which is your body, and not even the conformity of your body, but in a space of being freedom within your light. Because like I said in one of my last podcasts, um, we are not just this body, we are not just, skin and bone. We are more than this. We are light, we are love, we are not confined to anything. We should be free and able to live in our truth, in our authentic nature, and that is of light and love. And I think it's important to find ways to center yourself within that. And if anything outside of you is trying to break you down and make you feel stuck, to put yourself in a position to where you are able to see that and you are able to move accordingly to what you need to do for yourself in order to bring yourself into a space of freedom within that situation. And having energetic boundaries and having spaces to where you can go to and be alone, or spaces to where you can go to and feel safe within different connections, is important. Even if you don't have those connections yet, making sure that you are that for yourself. And that's why I think that spiritual practices is so important for me, to be that safe space for myself emotionally, mentally, physically, or whatever I need at that time.